Well, good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you all this evening on this special edition of the Open Door Show from Property CEO. My name is Ritchie Clapson and it's good to have you here to talk about the budget. The budget, hey, how exciting is that? Give me a hands up if you can see and hear me. Let's just make sure everything is working. That'll be terrific. Good stuff. And the chat box is open. So please, any questions you've got in the chat box, put them in there. I'm not sure I'm going to get through everyone. We have quite a few hundred people on here this evening, and it's increasing as more and more are logging on. But I will do my best to pick up some of the questions as we go through. So, look, here at Property CEO, if you don't know us, I know quite a few of our students are on here, but there's quite a lot of people I can see looking down lots of lists of names that aren't students of ours. If you don't know who we are or what we do, my name is Ritchie Clapson. I'm a chartered structural engineer. I've been in the property industry now over 40 years. So I've seen a few of these red boxes come out of that door at number 11. And today we're going to comment on what's happening for you here. I actually worked at a pretty high level in the industry, invited by the government to peer review the Olympic Stadium, the National Aquatics and the Velodrome in 2012 and things like that. And always been working in lots of different projects, new build, conversions, large, small. And actually throughout that time, always training developers or people to become developers, existing developers to do it better and brand new people to get into the market and become property developers. I retired 14 years ago and all I primarily do now is focus on running a property CEO with my business partner, Mr. Ian Child, and we train property developers. Well, there you go. A little bit of an introduction. Oh, evening, Richie. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you, Jenny, on here. Good stuff. Budget rules. Okay, says Peter. Anything in the chat box, put it in. Let's try and get a bit of conversation going, a bit of dialogue. It's nice to know you are out there. Hi, Richie. Hi, Darren. Don't keep all saying hi because I can't say, can I have an orange juice, please, says Craig. No, Craig, go and get your own orange juice this evening. Look, okay, I'm quite a simple sort of guy. I've seen lots of other videos that's people putting out there on the I'm going to say on the internet, but on YouTube. And, they're getting quite detailed and they're getting quite excited. It's not that interesting, is it? I mean, I sat yesterday, I was in central London and I was presenting at a property event and they'd asked me to do two presentations. They said, can you do one in the morning before the budget? Can you listen to the budget and can you come back again and do one in the afternoon of a follow-up? So I did. So I had to listen to the whole budget. Now, that was about an hour and 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back. I can tell you that right now. Anyone else listen to the budget? Give me a hands up if you listened to the whole budget yesterday. I mean, the whole thing. Yeah, a few of you did. Oh, God, just send you to sleep, doesn't it? Send you to sleep. Hope it's not all doom and gloom, says Zane. It's not all doom. I mean, do you know, it's what you take it as. That's the thing. So I'm going to run through some bits and pieces this evening. I mean, everyone's got their own takes on it. But, do you know, overall, don't worry about it. That's my view on lots of these things, because I think it depends where you're at and what you're doing. Yeah, some people are going to get caught out by it. Cost of living's probably not going to go down anytime soon. In lots of ways, cost of living is probably going to be going up and continue to go up. So the thing I say, look, I'm not political, never have really been that political, never really got involved in political parties, but I just look after myself. And I think that's what I enjoy doing now. One of my big visions, motivations, things that get me up in the morning is helping people like you out there to go and change your life where the budget does not really affect you. A few percentage here or there, so what? Doesn't affect you. And if you get into a good position in life, good, financially free, if we could use that word, then budgets, they're not going to scare you. Okay, they are what they are. Every government's going to do their own thing. So I was pretty chilled yesterday. I wasn't really that bothered about it. And it's all little bits here and there. So I guess what I want to do here this evening is try and get some of that sort of thought process across to you, particularly if you are working with me and I'm working with you and helping you become students and be developers and so on. If you're not, well, I want to try and get that mentality across to you that there's things we can do in this world where budgets don't affect us, not to any great extent. I once paid, because budgets revolve around tax, don't they? Big tax bills. I once had this huge tax bill. Well, not once, I've had a few tax bills, but a really big tax bill because I sold a company out. I mean, one of the things is entrepreneurs relief, we'll talk about that this evening. And I had a really big tax bill when I sold out a business for a fairly big sum. I said to my accountant, oh, my word, that tax bill's horrendous. He said, you should be lucky. You should be pleased. I said, why? He said, the fact that you've got such a big tax bill means that you've probably earned a lot of money. And that's the way I look at it. So that's just a bit of food for thought overall. What am I going to talk about this evening? Well, look, I'll talk about the national insurance that's gone up, the minimum wage, and I'm going to talk about how these will potentially, in my opinion, affect you as property developers. So if you're a student of mine, great. If you're not a student of mine, yeah, maybe you're going to be after tonight. You might like that idea. So how will it affect you as developers? I'm not really going to be touching on buy-to-let landlords and that sort of thing. Not especially. It's not really my bag. Lots of other people out there commenting on that. I'm going to talk about, the capital gains, inheritance tax, what they said about housing. I will talk about the entrepreneurs relief. I think that's an interesting one. I'm definitely going to talk about SDLT because there's a real get round there. Forget the 5% surcharge. We don't worry about it as developers. Okay? You're probably thinking that. Well, if you're a buy-to-let land, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. We'll get round that one tonight with you. Pensions. Let's touch on pensions. That's an interesting one. First-time buyers. Well, it's what they didn't say as opposed to what they did say. So I'm going to cover off various subjects. And please, any questions, put them in the chat box. And, let's have a debate. Let's have a discussion. You can ask me a question. If I can't answer it, I'll tell you. So first and foremost, let's look at the national insurance and minimum wage uplift, because that's a big thing, wasn't it? Part of this, what was it, 40 billion? Mind you, actually, I suppose, I should take this back a little bit, shouldn't I? Should we not be talking about a penny off a pint? That's pretty valuable, isn't it? 1p off of a pint. That's going to make you have a couple more. Or for my students, people that are working with me, what about this surcharge? Is it an extra £450 for your private jet, every passenger? I know some of my students are going to get collared with that, with their private jets. Anyone got a private jet on here this evening? I know a few of my students want one, so just a matter of time, isn't it? So anyway, look, I jest. Let's get back to national insurance and minimum wage. So what happened there? Well, I mean, most people will know. You've probably seen this. Jenny says, no, not yet, Ritchie. So, okay, I don't like beer. Okay, well, it's up to you then, isn't it? Right, 1p, that's quite a lot of money. So what's happening? Okay, well, we're taking national insurance contributions up. Okay, they're going up to 15%. And the rate is coming down the threshold, should I say, it kicks in, is coming down from 9.1 to 5,000 per annum. That's the big thing. Yeah, okay, it's the two things together. So it's gone up just over 1% or so, and the threshold's come down. So there's quite a bit more money for companies. Now, I mean, it's not a massive amount of money. It's not like at the Office of Property CEO, Ian and myself, my business partner, had a real sort of frightful session today to work out how the hell we're going to pay for this increase in national insurance, and we're trying to cut staff left, right, and centre. I mean, none of ours are on minimum wage. We're not anywhere near that. But we're not worrying about that. I guess some businesses will, and this is where I think you've got to watch this as a property developer, because this could feed through for you, okay? Because this is probably more than half of the get rid of Ella. Oh, by the way, Ella's my events manager. Those that don't know, there's a few in-jokes going on here this evening. I know a lot of people aren't property CEO people, and someone on here has said get rid of Ella. Ella's actually my events manager. That's why he's saying that, but she's actually my daughter. Imagine, I'm actually working in my office at home this evening. Imagine I go up to the house in a minute and say that Craig said, get rid of Ella this evening to save yourself a few quid. So I tell you what, my friend, you're going to be in big, big trouble. And there's a now hashtag Save Ella campaign. That's what we like. A bit of fun coming on here. Marry her off, says Paul. If you're offering, Paul, thank you very much. Anyway, so didn't know it was going to be an arranged wedding this evening, did you? Look, this is about 25 billion. I think they're going to try and arrange. They're trying to raise through this national insurance plan that they've got. Now, how does that affect us as developers? Well, let me add the minimum wage criteria into this, because I can't remember the rates. It's gone up to £12 something or other, something like that. And so you've got this, you've got the minimum wage going up, you've got more national insurance that companies are going to have to pay. Now, what sort of companies employ people on minimum wages? What sort of companies maybe really struggle with their margins, and this increase in national insurance is going to affect them? Well, the obvious one, they had it on the telly last night, I could have bet you some money on that, was someone in a bar. There was a bar owner, restaurant bar owner, all of their bar staff, all their wages are going up because they're all on minimum wages. Type people, they are not paying them, all on minimum wages. And yeah, I suspect, I mean, you look at some pubs, I mean, they're just, there's just no one in in a lot of pubs, or they're sort of periodic, they're in there on a Thursday and a Friday, and the rest of the week is dead. It's absolutely dead. So those types of businesses are obvious ones, but where are we as developers? Well, what about contractors? I think this is where you are going to have something to take into consideration. This is not going to make you unviable as a developer. So don't start panicking and worrying or grabbing a bottle of wine and getting drunk. You don't need to. Look, the thing here is what I think will happen. I think a few contractors, particularly their subcontractors who employ a lot of younger generation, and they'll have people on apprenticeships or minimum wages, the young plasterers, electricians, plumbers, the laborers sweeping up, bricklayers, all of that. I think there's going to be a general increase there in their overall costs because of this national insurance and minimum wage. So that is going to ultimately mean that the subcontractors, and hence the contractors, if they want to make the same profit, have got to charge you more money. That's the bottom line. So I do think that construction costs will go up a little, okay, because it is generally people are in that marketplace. They're not paid a huge amount of money. So I think if you are looking right now at construction projects, and I know some of my students are, so it's good that you're on here this evening. I see a lot of you on. Well, I can't see every single name because there's quite a few hundred people on here this evening. I'm not sure we quite nearly maxed out, I would have thought, on our I think it's a maximum of 1,000 on here. So anyway, don't keep joining on. We won't have enough room soon. So the point is here, if you're tendering right now on a contract, you might better lock that in. You might better lock that in terms of fixed price lump sum, and the contractor's going to soak up that reduced profitability. It's not going to be a massive number, but it's a bit there. If you are going out to tender, the assumptions that you made might mean you're going to get a slight increase in those costs. Now, it's not going to be massive, because don't forget, our construction costs, if we had a construction cost project of £400,000, let's say we're going to pay a contractor £400,000 to do our development, okay, then we are going to be in a position where half of that is labour and half material, roughly, there or thereabouts. So we got £200,000. Now, we've got an odd percent or so gone up in national insurance contributions, and we've got a few quid gone up on minimum wage. Now, of course, there's only going to be a small proportion that's on minimum wage, and that percentage increase in national insurance is not going to be massive. So on £200,000, I mean, if there was a 10% increase in that, I'd be surprised. I mean, it's 20,000, it could be 20,000 that could come as an extra cost to your construction development costs. Is it going to kill the deal? Nah, probably not. But be aware of it. That's one thing I think is definitely out there, okay? Definitely out there that will feed its way through. And I mean, it's not unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable, but just be aware of that. I don't think it's not going to kill you, okay? Also, Brad on this evening. Brad, nice to see you on this evening. So Brad says, also ensure no fluctuations in JCT. Yeah, the JCT is the Joint Contracts Tribunal. It's the actual legal contract that you will have in place with the contractor. Now, provided that's tied up, if you're already in contract with a contractor, and I know a lot of my students are already on site doing stuff, your JCT will protect you from those fluctuations, and it'll probably just come in on your next deal. If you haven't got a JCT and you're doing deals without JCTs or out contracts, or you don't know what that means, maybe you need to come and spend some time with me and I'll help you through that one. So that's my first thing. Let's talk about capital gains inheritance tax. Well, I think there was some good news there for a lot of people, because, I mean, this is more sort of buy to let, because when we're doing development, we're talking about corporation tax, and we'll come to that in a minute. So, capital gains, no increase on the rates, 18 and 24 for the sale on second home. So that's not really changed. And I think people thought they were going to, and I certainly know a lot of the people out there, the people, and some good people that are training that stuff are like excited Duracell bunnies today, jumping around all over the place, because that's not changed. Will it? I reckon it might over the coming years. It might, but for now, it isn't. Okay, so that's okay. So there's no big changes in the sort of capital gains that's going to affect you. I think the inheritance tax. Well, I don't know. You're healthy. You're going to die soon. Assuming you're not going to die, it's probably not a biggie for you right now. Okay, you might want to think about it, but probably there's more you can do with proper tax planning. Proper estate tax planning. If you haven't done that sort of thing, and you are a property developer and you're going to be making big lumps of money, that's why they're getting you on your private jet tax. Okay. If you are making some big lumps of money, or you're planning to make some big lumps of money, speak to your accountant, get some proper future tax planning, because that tax planning will get around a lot of this inheritance tax stuff. You might have to be thinking about trusts and stuff for your children. I mean, you might not want to give the children anything. You might want to leave it all to me. But still, we probably need to do some tax planning between us if you want to leave me all of that. And it's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. So I don't think that's a biggie for you developers. Okay. So not really too worried about that. If I bring in the business asset disposal, which is the entrepreneur's relief, well, it's staying at the million. So we used to be able to sell businesses for £10 million, and I think it was 10, and we didn't pay any tax. It was cool. Okay. But now it's changed around a bit. I mean, it's still 10%, or is it 10% on the first 10 million? It's still 10% on the first million. That's going to increase, though. It's going to go up next year to 14, and the year after to 18. So if you are going to sell a business, you might want to be thinking about, if you can, get out earlier. That'll save you a right chunk of money. But I mean, businesses are only for sale when it's ready for sale. And so you're not going to force that issue. And it's like I said earlier, if you're going to have to pay a lump more tax, pay a lump more tax. It's not a biggie. Not really affecting property developers, I don't think, in any way, shape or form. I think the only thing that it could have influence on, which might be interesting, so this is one to watch out for. So whilst this is probably not going to directly affect you, because certainly most of my students, or if you start to work with me and I train you to be a developer, you're on this building up of your portfolio, of your business, and you're unlikely to be selling that out in the next few years. And if you are just developing property and exiting and selling it on and making 200,000-300,000 at a time, you're not really got a business that you're going to sell, unless you're building a brand and or holding some properties in some format. And unless it's just, if it's just properties, it's bricks and mortar. Unless you form some brand or business around it, which you could if you had a sort of a service department type portfolio, if that's what you want to do, can't do anything worse myself, then you might be interested in that. But you're not going to do it in the next few years. So I wouldn't worry about it. You're not going to beat that. Where it could be interesting, and this is the thing, this is what I think could be interesting here. This is going to definitely encourage some people to sell before April next year, and probably definitely before April 26, when this 10 to 14 and 14 to 18% increase kick in. Now, what does that mean? Why is that interesting to us? Well, the likelihood is, and this is what normally happens, when businesses sell, they sell to someone. Obviously, makes sense, doesn't it? And whoever they sell to tends to look for efficiencies. So quite often, and I've bought and sold lots of businesses over my time, and if I am buying, what I would tend to do is buy the business, I'd often buy the name, the goodwill, not the actual company itself. lots of tax reasons to do that, but forget that for now, and also about risk and liability. But what I would tend to do is I want to up sticks all the people and put them in my office. Okay, that's what I'd want to do, because I don't need that extra office. So I get rid of that office, or I leave that to the owner. I don't buy their bricks and mortar. There's no value in that to me. I buy all of the goodwill. I 2P all the people across. I put them in my office, so that saves me some space. We put them on double stacked desks, so they all squeeze up. Squeeze them all in, make a bit of money out of it. But I don't need 2 photocopiers, do I? I only need 1 photocopier. I don't need 2 reception desks. I don't need 2 sets of meeting rooms, and so on. What does that mean? The business owner who's selling is often left with a building, which they no longer need. So they're probably going to dispose of. Equally, if I am selling a business, it's just the reverse. So I think that could be quite interesting. So what I would be doing, and this is about how we teach you, or if you haven't been taught by me, we would teach you, is to build relationships with commercial agents. It's really important how you build those. You've got to build them right. But if you definitely need to be cozying up to those commercial agents in and around your area if you want to become a developer, a small-scale property developer, particularly if we're looking for commercial buildings. And I'm going to talk about SDLT in a minute and a real get-round of that, which could be quite exciting if you don't know about it. So the thing here is you should be cozying up to those agents, building relationships with them, because I'm almost certain, will have a lot of SMEs, a lot of small, medium enterprises selling out, because that's nearly double your tax. And if you're selling out for a couple of million quid, that's a big lump of tax there, isn't it? Okay, big lump of tax. So the thing is, okay, so I would say if you can actually cozy up to these agents, you're almost certainly going to have some businesses that are going to actually be in a position where they're going to dispose of their buildings. Almost certainly that is going to happen. Okay, so I think that's interesting. I think that's quite an interesting one. Okay. I thought capital gains went up from 10 to 20 and 18 to 24. Yeah, but there's no increase on second homes capital gains. First homes there is. Capital gains on second homes, there was no increase in that. That stayed at 18 and 24, lower and upper tax limits. That's where that stayed. Okay. I think the lower rate, so if you're selling, went to 10 to 18 and 20 to 24 higher rate for first homes, but not for second homes. I'm pretty certain that's how it went. Okay. Lower distressed seller, someone said. Yeah, we do. So I think that's a really interesting one in terms of this business asset disposal relief, entrepreneurs relief. I loved it when they called it entrepreneurs relief. Why do they want to change it? So that is something to look out for. Definitely be hot on the toes of that, cozying up to these agents, understanding and work out who's selling their businesses. That makes sense? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Interesting one. Now, here's an interesting one. SDLT. So what have they done here on SDLT? Well, what they've done is they've increased the rate that you pay up to 5% as a surcharge. So if you are buying a second home, okay, the surcharge has gone up to 5%. So, over and above what you would pay residentially, which is between the thresholds, I think it's something like 0, 5, 10, 12. I can't remember the thresholds, 250 to 800 or 900, something like that. You have to pay a surcharge on top of that, an extra 5%. Now, as a second home, whether you're buying it as a limited company or you're buying it individually, you've got to pay that surcharge. You pay that extra surcharge. Now, I don't think that's a biggie overall. I mean, yeah, okay, it's money, but all you do is you change that in your offer price, don't you? You definitely change that in your offer price. And right now, there are, of course, lots of landlords who are selling up, not really to do with the budget, but I think the big thing that's making landlords sell up is renters reform. Renters reform where your tenants are going to have far more rights than you. And so it's entirely up to the tenant. If they don't want to pay their rent, they can stay there quite happily and you're going to pay the mortgage. If they want to trash the home, it's entirely up to them and steal all the white goods when they leave and you're still stuck with the property. And you've probably got no powers. That's slightly cynical, I know, but that's probably the position you're in. And so many landlords have decided to sell up. And, yeah, okay, they've got some issues. They've got to pay lumps of capital gains if they're selling up, if they didn't have any limited companies and all that stuff going on. But you know what you are going to have is you are going to have some motivated landlords. I think there's definitely going to be those out there. And so that surcharge, is it really going to affect you? Maybe not. You just alter that in the price that you offer. So it's probably not overall a biggie in terms of what you're trying to do. Having said that, I do wonder why you want to be buying buy-to-lets as a short-term passive income, because, and this is nothing to do with the budget, but I think it's worth putting it in there because a lot of people won't have heard me speak before, is that, you know, look, it's different. I talked about this yesterday in central London, the speech I was asked to give. And I was talking about, the bottom line, this was said week before, last week. I was at another event and a property lawyer stood up. And he said, this was his words, it's the death of the casual landlord. He said, it's over. Okay. He said, do development, get into small scale development. Now, why did he say that? He said, the big change, he said, yeah, look, the taxation's there, the renters reform. And he said, but the money you're making out of property buy-to-lets is so minimal. Is it worth it? That was his questioning. Is it worth it? Unless you are a real portfolio landlord with a lot of properties, because with the average income out of a buy-to-let in the UK, registered as £300 a month, and this is across the UK, so it could be more, could be less. As many landlords found out, certainly over the last few years, is interest rates only have to creep up a little, and it wipes out the profitability. It wipes out the profitability. It's gone. Let alone if they trash it or don't pay the rent, they being your dear tenants. And I know a lot of good tenants out there, but there's also some awful ones. And of course, it's the awful ones you hear about. And, you know, you could get caught. So you're in a position where you have what was, with low interest rates, a passive income generator, you could argue. I didn't like it anyway because it had too much noise as a business. The business had lots of noise and lots of hassles. With the renters reform, even more noise going on, I do think. And so I think the thing is, buy-to-lets 20 years ago, it was considered a long-term strategy. Get someone in, pay your mortgage off, and in 20, 30 years, you own a property. And then, of course, your return on that investment is quite good. You've paid for it. It's probably got a huge amount of equity increase, no mortgage on it. So whatever you get in a month is probably half reasonable. You still got all the noise with the tenants, so you have to consider that. But I think the days of let's get half a dozen properties together, bearing in mind the average portfolio size is 1.5 and it takes 10 years to get there. But people's philosophy is we get some properties together and we'll earn a load of money out of each of them when we give up the day job. And I know too many people, certainly in the last few years, who've come to me is because they got caught out. They don't have half a bad sized portfolio, but suddenly with interest rates gone up and problems with a few tenants, they now don't have enough money to live on. That's the problem. That's the problem with it. So I think regardless of whether you can get a reduction to soak up this 5% surcharge, which you probably can. Do you really want? Is now a good time with everything else that's going on? Is it a good time to be in the buy-to-let arena? I don't think so. Personally, I just do not think so. As a business model, and yesterday in the afternoon presentation that I get after the budget, I talked about we have to think about it as a business model. We have to understand whatever it is we're going to do as a business model. And we need to look at the returns on investment and the risks to that and who's controlling those businesses. Well, what are Labour going to do over the next 4 years or so in their term in the office? Are they going to help you as a landlord? Yes? No? Here, let's take a view here. In the chat box, tell me, put yes if you think Labour's going to help you, put no if you think they're not. SDLT was a surprise, but probably not a biggie considering it's already at 6% in Scotland. Yes. Someone says, exactly why I'm signing up and joining you. Good stuff. Okay, I'm having a look. Okay, so pretty much it's a no. Have I seen any yeses? Sorry, there's hundreds of these coming in. So heck no was another one. That's well done, Paul. I love that. Heck no. And Philomena and David's gone, no. Lots of zeros on, not zeros on the O's on the back of that. Not on your Nelly, says Kamina. Yeah, I think not, says Fem. Yeah, they're not. Definitely not, says Denise. They're not. Okay. No rude comments in there, actually. Not till they have a crisis without enough landlords. Vanda says, yeah, until that suits them. So, unanimously, you've all said no. So why are you doing it? And are they going to help HMOs, service departments? Tell me what you think. So now the no's have stopped. HMOs and service departments, yes or no? Let's see what you put in the chat box for this one. This is my unofficial poll this evening. HMO service departments, I want a yes or a no. They're helping you or not? Over the next 5 years, and another no. No way, says Carmina. No, they're not. I can be rude about them if you want me to be. No, don't be rude. It's not political. Okay, they have landlords of all type. Because look, the bottom line, Julia, thank you for that. Doubt it, says Nor. That doubt it is the nearest we got to maybe a yes. So well done. Nice to have a little bit of balance in it. No way, Jose. What's that? I missed that comment there. Might help if we can get them tickets for Swifty next time. Swifty? What? Taylor Swift? What are you talking about? I'm lost on that one. No, might help if I can get them tickets for Swifty. No idea. If you're talking about Taylor Swift. What about Taylor Swift? I've no idea what you're talking about. You get the government tickets for Taylor Swift? Okay. But Julia says, but they want us to create new homes. Well, we're going to come to that, Julia, in a minute. We're going to come to what they're saying about that. The government doesn't help us with anything. No, and did the Conservatives, and you'd put no's in there. They didn't, did they? So we're in this arena, we're in this position where hundreds of you are on here this evening and hundreds of you have put no's in the chat box. And not one out of the hundreds of you on it this evening have put yes. The nearest I got was, it's gone up there now, was a doubt it. I think it was Nora. I think you put doubt it. So they gave her a police escort, etc., for free Swifty. Oh, I have no idea what we're talking about. So my daughter's a Swifty, so I have no idea what's going on. I'd have to talk to her and say, what do all these comments mean? Anyway, look, the thing is, if you're in that arena, I think you're in a tough time over the next 4 years. Now, what do you think the government are going to do for property developers, current government, over the next 5 years? Are they going to help them? Yes, or help them? No. So I want a yes or a no for property developers. And then I'm going to talk to you about SDLT and property developers. This is quite exciting. Okay, I got lots of yeses coming in. I got lots of yeses. They will have to. Yes, they need us. Yes-ish. Yes-ish, I like it. A little bit on the fence. Hope so, maybe. Love that. Okay. Now, there's a few on the fence. I get that. A few yes for big developers. Okay, yes for big developers, says Zane. Okay, interesting. Maybe you don't think small developers. Believe it when I see it, says Paul. Okay, well, you're already seeing it, Paul. I don't know why you don't believe it, because you can see it all out there already now, my friend. You're a student of mine. What are you talking about? Yes, because the amount of houses they need to build, says Denise. Absolutely. They will say there are, but no. Okay, look, not 100%, says Remy yet. We shall see, says Will. Look, first thing. So there was no no's in there. So something there is pretty key of what business you want to be in. And there's hundreds of you on here this evening. And there wasn't one no. There was a few on the fence. But seriously, there was not one no that flew up in that chat box. Okay. And I was looking at it to see if it went up, because it's rolling up there like a scroll. I don't know why I said like a scroll. Scrolls don't go that fast, do they? Anyway, you know what I mean. So the point is here, okay. 50% house, affordable housing. I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. So the thing is here, the government, current government, previous government, future government, whoever it's going to be, almost certainly are going to support property developers. Now, I want to come back to this SDLT thing, because I talked about that. There's no surcharge on commercial property. Commercial property, I think rates are 0, 2, and 5, and I think that's 150, 250, over 250, something like that. But there's no surcharge. So the surcharge, 5% surcharge, applies to second homes. Now, if you want to build a portfolio, you want to become a developer landlord in that order. Develop and then become a landlord because then you avoid the 5% surcharge. How? You're asking. Well, if you buy a commercial property, okay, you're not paying the extra surcharge. If you then convert that commercial property to residential, no surcharge. You've already paid your land tax. You've already done it commercially. So you're actually saving the 5% by going down the permitted development right route. Now, you've got to get your taxes right and how you hold the taxes. I actually just interestingly recorded another open door session. I'm not sure when it's coming out, with a property accountant today. And that was quite interesting. We're talking about getting your taxes right and making sure you structure this correctly. But that's how you do it. If you want to build to rent, you want a whole property, well, you're going to buy a commercial building, commercial SDLT rates, no surcharge, turn it into residential. Hey, presto, saved 5% surcharge. What's not to like about that? So there you go. I mean, in a way, that's something that the government are doing, isn't it? They're helping. They're helping. I'm going to come back to where else they're helping. Okay, where else they're helping. I'm going to come back to that question Marcus put it in. I'm going to keep an eye on that, make sure it doesn't go up. Now, pensions. Now, there were some extra charges going on in pensions, wasn't there? I can't remember the detail around this, but there was extra charges that they're going to tax you more on your pension. I can't quite remember the levels. What does that tell you? Well, it probably tells you something that even if you didn't know this, you need more money in your pension pot. I mean, that's simple, isn't it? You need more money than you can ever imagine in your pension pot. And I don't know. Sometimes I do this, okay? Let's do the rule of 375. Sometimes I do this. A lot of people won't have heard of it. Right. Grab yourself your phone, your calculator, if you haven't heard of this. Because I want you to think about this, because this is going to, this is not just about budget. Budget's the sort of point in time, but it's for a lot of you on here. There's hundreds of you on here tonight, and maybe some people listening on a replay. It's what are you going to do? Because remember I said earlier, don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about it. If you're in the right place, there's other things you can do than worry about these little percentages increase that this government or any government are going to do. Right, work out how much you want a month when you retire. Work it out. And a lot of you have seen me do this, and I've talked about this before. Work out how much you want when you retire a month. Now, bear in mind the average figure, you don't have to put it in the chat box. I see some numbers coming in. The average figure is £5,000 a month. That's what people want. Okay, well, that's what the surveys say that people want. Survey says, what program's that? It's a TV program, isn't it? Well, it is some TV program. Anyway, the survey says £5,000 a month. I've got quite a few people who just put tens in. Okay, whatever it is, let's just work on 5,000. If you want £5,000 a month, multiply it by 375. This is the rule of 375. You're then going to end up with a number. That number is 1.8 million. That number, 1.8 million, is what you need as a rule of thumb when you actually retire for your pension pot. And that's based on, it's a rule of thumb, okay? Roughly living for about 35 years. The rate some of you are going, you might not live that long, who knows? Roughly 35 years. It's retiring something in your mid-50s. So it's not my rule, not pension advisors use it. It's something like in your mid-50s, living for about 35 years, spending more to start with. I think it's based around, and a little bit less later on when you become less mobile, and a mixture of investments. So it could be property, it could be buying an annuity, it could be, I don't know, wherever else you're going to put it. Now, 1.8 million. Some of you said 10K. Well, that's 3.6 million. So forget the tax on it, because the tax, I don't worry about tax. You're going to do some tax planning, but if they're putting the taxes up, just work out a way to earn more. That's all you've got to do. Work out a way to earn more, then you don't worry about the taxes. Like I said, I got a big tax bill, sold a company for a 7-figure sum. Yeah, I got a fairly big tax bill. Don't worry about it, said my accountant. You should, what are you moaning at me for? You know what I'm saying? So the thing here, okay, Here's the challenge on this pension thing. And I think it's a sort of challenge overall that I really want to put to you this evening. It's how many years between now and when you want to retire? How many years? I'll tell you what, put that in the chat box. I won't read your names out in case anyone knows who you're on. Just give me how many years between now and when you want to retire. Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 100? I don't know how old and young you are. Okay, so I just want to get an average. I've got 5s, I've got 10s, I've got 7s, I've got 15, I've got 10, I've got 13 would do me. I've got 10, 5 minutes. You're going to be able to go fast. 10, 10, 10, 6, 10, 15 to 20, 15, retired 2 years ago. Oh, well, you're way ahead. Okay, 10, 15. There's a lot of 10, 15. I'm going to go 10. Quite a few 8s, 5s. Okay, I don't want to retire. Well, maybe you'll have to one day. You're going to get old like the rest of us, Sam. So, now, let's say 10 years. You've got 10 years, and there was a lot of numbers coming, but let's say you want 10K, £10,000 a month when you retire, and 5,000 would probably be okay, but you ain't going to have some great holidays on that, are you? So 10 a month, okay. I'm already old, says Dawn. Well, it's up to you, Dawn. Don't think you look it. Dawn, you look great. Great for your age this evening. Looking really good. Well done. You had your hair done. Looks really nice. Anyway, 10 years, and you want 10,000 a month. Keeps it simple, doesn't it? You've got to have a pot, roughly, of 3.6 million. 360,000 a year. How are you going to get that? I mean, how are you going to get it? And the analogy I gave yesterday in this presentation, I was in central London, and I said, if I wanted to get to Glasgow, and I was doing this presentation about 2:10 I was on. If I want to get to Glasgow by like 5 o'clock, well, walking's not an option, is it? If I set off, would I get there? Well, no, of course you wouldn't. Okay. Well, your pensions are crap, someone says. We know they're crap. This is why you're doing something different. And if you're not, you need to. So listen up. So I said, if I need to get to Glasgow by 5 o'clock, I'm in central London at 2 o'clock, walking will not do it for me. It won't, will it? I could walk really fast. Sometimes I can. I could even break into a jog. I mean, at my age, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. But if I did, I'm still not going to get there. I could jump on a push bike. It's going to be no good. Car, I doubt it. I'm going to have to go by plane, aren't I? So to get to Glasgow, private jet, £450 surcharge. Hadn't thought of that. My God, never thought about that. But I would have to, wouldn't I? To get to that destination, I can't walk. I have to think of something different. Why am I using that analogy? Well, what I'm saying to you is that if you need 3.6 million in an average of 10 years because you want 10,000 a month, what are you doing? And if what you're doing now, so if you've got a few buy-to-lets, HMOs, maybe service departments with more legislation coming down the track and squeezing that profitability, or if you're in a completely different business, unrelated, and you're not earning anywhere near 360,000, you need to do something different. You need to do something different. I have used 4 million within 5 to 6 years for my property CEO business plan. Peter, well done. Peter's one of my students. That's his 4 million target. That's what he wants to do in 5 to 6 years. Well done, Peter. Yes. And you can do it. Okay? You can do it. Do you get my point? So the pensions thing should make you think, and if not, I've been pretty blunt with you this evening with your rule of 375. Write that down. Think about that this evening when you come off of here. I've been pretty blunt with you, and this is what I'm saying. You've got to do something. What are you going to do? Now, one other little thing. What they didn't say, and I thought it was interesting, in their manifesto, Labour said they were going to help first-time buyers. Nothing was mentioned. So I don't know what's going to happen there, because that's a really important one for us as developers. We want them to help first-time buyers, because first-time buyers is in the need market, 1, 2, 3 bed properties, which is where we talk about working. If you're new to propertyCEO, you want to work in the need market, 1, 2, 3 bed properties, and small scale developers building between 5 and 20 units. That's where you want to be. Let me pick up a point that came in earlier, and I can't remember what it was. It was about affordable homes. Okay. And let me pick up really, when we're looking at where is the government supporting us, we talked about development. Well, one thing the government did say on housing, and they said they're supporting housing because they want to deliver, it's 385 now, isn't it? 385,000 over 5 years, 1.9 million homes. Good luck. They're going to need to pray because they're not going to do it. But as long as they're going to give it a good go, as long as they're enthusiastic, as long as they're energetic, as long as they're creative and supportive, that's going to help us as developers. It's not necessarily going to help you as a landlord if you've got rentals or service departments or buy-to-lets, HMOs, but it is going to help us. The rhetoric, all of the talk. I mean, yesterday they talked about 5 billion. I mean, it's not a big number on housing investment. I mean, it is a big number, but when you split it down, that's what they're going to do in 25 to 2026. Okay. Increasing the supply of affordable housing. And they've already allocated, they already leaked some of this stuff of how much they're going to give to Manchester, Liverpool, or wherever. They're going to give these lumps of money. I think it's about 5,000 homes or something. It's going to do something, but it's not massive. Is it going to directly help you? No, probably not as a small scale developer. The reduction of right to buy discounts, it's not really going to affect us either way. We'll just slow some of the market up a little bit. They said they're going to hire hundreds of new planning officers. Well done, Mr. Labour government. That's absolutely terrific. Where are you getting them from? Well, they said they're going to train them. So, well, they won't be ready until the next parliament or the next one, will they? So, so cynical, yes, Clapson's been a bit cynical. I get it. But the principle is they are focusing on doing this stuff. They are saying the right things, that they want to fix the planning system. They want to help. They want to deliver more homes. They want to deliver lots of affordable homes. Great. So they want to deliver homes. In fact, to get re-elected, they need to deliver lots of homes. Absolutely certain. Okay. Cynical, but truthful, says Jenny. Yeah, a little bit, isn't it? A little bit. Would you put the money you earn from property development in the pension pot? Not necessarily. I have a mix of developments. Kamina, really good question. Just pick that one up. There's lots coming in. I can't answer all these questions, but some that I see, I pick up if they're in the flow. I'm trying to sort of multitask, read and talk to you at the same time. No, I'd have a spread. Okay. Yes, some in the pension pot, absolutely. Some in property, no problems with that. But long-term buy-to-let, simple vanilla. Honestly, I wouldn't mess around with HMOs and service departments. There's too much noise in them. Because most important thing you want, more than money, is time, isn't it? Time to spend with our loved ones. We can't get time back. We want time. Money affords us time. So let's use it. Let's not get sucked into businesses that have noise and hassle and stuff. Property development doesn't to the same degree. Make some money, have a year off. So I might put some money into a simple buy-to-let portfolio, maybe some commercial property of the right stock, right sizes, but maybe invest in some other businesses, maybe in some stocks, maybe in some gold, maybe in some gilts, bonds. Spread it around. Okay. Now, the point on housing and affordable homes. And one really exciting thing is that we have, and if you don't know this, we have permitted development rights. Now, I know all my students know this, but I know there's a lot of people on here who aren't my students. We have permitted development rights to convert existing commercial buildings that are empty into residential. Well, it gets rid of that stamp duty land tax surcharge that I talked about a little bit earlier this evening. But that's not the main reason to do it. The main reason is that we can buy these commercial buildings and we can have a huge uplift in value when we turn them into residential. If we want to hold them, that's a great way of building our portfolio. Or just sell them on and make a few $100,000. And genuinely, I could probably say the average profit out of a deal, because I have some students doing like $1 million plus in their first deal, some doing 100, is probably 300-ish. And so to be honest, if you did a deal, one deal a year for 10 years, probably working a day a week on average, so you get your time back, as I say, which is so important. And you get a project manager to run it, so you're not running this yourself. You could probably make 3 million in 10 years. You've only got to do a couple of extra projects and you could do it. It's possible. Is it simple? Yeah, it's simple. Is it easy? Not necessarily. Does it require hard work? Yes. It's not without hard work, but it's quite simple. The model is quite simple. But the interesting thing is that permitted development rights, you don't have to provide affordable housing. Now, will the government bring it in? Maybe, but they're not at the moment. They haven't said they are. So there's no hint of it. So at the moment, you can build, within the rules, you can build almost as many as you want. But actually, you can go and build, I always say 5 to 20, small scale development. You can go and build a scheme with 20 homes in it, and none of them have to be affordable. If you go in for planning, yeah, you're going to have affordable homes, and it reduces your profitability. But we don't in permitted development rights. So this ability to use permitted development rights, which Labour, nothing mentioned in the budget yesterday, but in the manifesto, Labour said they were going to support and focus on, that was their words, brownfield land, existing empty commercial buildings. So focusing on brownfield land is what we want. Then focusing on that, which is permitted development rights, which short circuits the planning system, put an application in, 56 days, we get approval. That leads us, if you want to do this, if you're not doing this, maybe you should think about it, becoming a small scale property developer and start earning some sums. Actually, I've got quite a few students on this evening, just for those non-students, because there's people that aren't students on it. And I know a lot of people are worried about the budget. And a lot of people tuning in tonight who probably don't really know us that well, probably don't know much about development, and probably think it's a bit far-fetched. As a student, I know some of you have sold out. I know some of you are projecting profit out of your current deals. But the sort of deals you're looking at, give me what you're projecting as profits. Even if this is a deal you've looked at, but you haven't quite secured, just give me how much you're projecting in profits with the sort of deals you're looking at. Because I want to just share some of these numbers, because I want to encourage people that's not on to go, this is possible. Okay, this is possible. Right, I got some numbers coming in here. There's 600K. I'm not going to read your names out, okay, because I don't want other students to see what you're doing. 600K out of a project, 190 out of their first project. Thank you for that. 300K, 300K, 400, 500, 250, 100, 200, and 400. Two on at the same time, or is that one each, F and D? 300, I've got another coming in. I've got 250, I've got 150, I've got 1 million. Okay, I've got 900, I've got 600, I've got 300, I've got 200. Right, that's enough. That's enough. Now, not every one of those is guaranteed projects, but some of them are. This is the sort of thing that you can go and do. And when you get into this position, and I'm saying this to my existing students that are on here as well, when you get into a position and you're earning £300,000 or £400,000 out of a deal, okay, then, and so here's a question, I've got to pick this one up. Yeah, but how can you find below market value land to buy to start? No land, okay? For being no land, you're not buying land. You're buying, because land requires planning. The planning system is broken. As my students are writing in, PD, permitted developments. I've got it, guys. I've got it. I can take it from here. Land development is not where you want to be. Yes, we can provide homes out of it, but you've got to go in the planning system. The planning system is broken. It'll take you too long. Very difficult to borrow the money because you've got no certainty, and you're going to have to provide affordable homes. Now, permitted development rights. I don't expect you to understand it this evening. I haven't got time to explain it all in detail. This is more about the budget, but morphing into a little bit about what you can do if you're worried about how the budget's affecting you. Because I want this to be a solution to your pain. So if you're sat on here, and I know a lot of people are probably feeling a bit of pain, then this is maybe the solution. Could be one. Permitted development rights is the conversion of existing commercial buildings that are empty. And we have rights to do it. And the rights give us the right to put the application in for Bina. I know someone else has asked on there as well, but I'm picking yourself up. And the rights to do it. And in 56 days, if we don't get any confirmation from the local planning officers, we carry on. And that certainty means we can borrow the majority of the money to do these deals. It's really, really powerful. So one thing I'd say with that is the fact that, because this topic is about what was said in the budget about housing, nothing specific to help us as developers, but the rhetoric, the noise, the language was positive for property development, for the supply of houses, because they need them to get back their jobs. They need them. And I think that is so, so important. So I wanted to try and finish by 8 o'clock because I know a lot of people have got homes to go to. I think, look, I think the thing is with all of this, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sum up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. Let me just check something for you. I know so there's a couple of people in the chat box earlier, and I forgive me, your names have gone way up the screen. How can they, because I said, come and work with me. Someone said, how can I work with you? Okay. Yeah, it's still open. Okay. Folks, I did a presentation the other night online, and we run a 3-day fast track virtual event to get you started on your property development journey. It's called Fast Track. I know a lot of students have done it on here. Give me one word that describes how good it was, existing students, how good Fast Track is, and don't be rude, okay? If you're interested, if you're on here and you'd like to come and join us, I don't know how many there are. I'm going to give you a link. This will be a link. I'm going to put it through in the box, a link to the 3-day Fast Track. And basically, I'll be on that. My business partner's on it. One of my directors, my planning consultant, is going to be on it, and we'll take you on a journey to start this. I know a couple of people, a few people are asking this evening, and so if you want, come and join me. These tickets are 300 quid for 3 days online training. What do you people say? Let's see if anyone's rude, and if you are, I'm going to get you. Epic, awesome, eye-opening, brilliant, inspiring, fab, well worth it, folks. Really good, best decision, eye-opening. I love that one. What was the for? Well worth it, folks. Another well worth, phenomenal. I said one word. Some people have several words. Well, we signed up and haven't regretted a moment. That's not one word. 100% recommended Ritchie and his team. And I know I don't get paid for this. No, you're definitely not getting paid for this. This guy and his team know their stuff. Okay, let me put this link in. There you go. Check that link. If someone wants to just check that link for me, just give me a yes, it's working. It should take you through to a page. I don't think it's closed, but this was from Tuesday where we had some, I gave some cheap tickets away. Just someone wants to check it's working. Can't see it. It's a link. Oh, that's because I sent it to myself. You can tell I wasn't planning to do this. Hang on a minute, folks. Patience. Right. Can you see it now? I just sent a link to myself in the chat box. I mean, how silly is that? So can someone check it for me and just check it goes through to a page that says webinar special offer 297 plus VAT, and it give you November and December dates. So someone can check that for me and let me know. Yes, working. Great stuff. Thank you very much. It should work. I don't know whether it's been shut down once you put your details in. Hopefully it hasn't. And if you want to come and join me, grab yourself a ticket there and come and join me in the Fast Track. We're holding one in a few weeks' time in November, and we can answer any more questions there. We're holding another one in December as well. It does say, I can't open it. Well, you don't need to, Jenny. You've already been, so forget it. You're not coming on it again. Wouldn't have you on anyway. Someone else is working it, so that's absolutely fine. Boo, yeah, you're not coming on. Let's have a look. What's that? Someone said there. I saw someone comment. Someone said, "Is it any good?" Says Dominic. Dominic, you know it's good. That's why you're doing all right, my friend. So pack it in. Friday the 13th. Is that when it's on? Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th. Well, it's not on Friday the 13th. Oh, yes, it is. December one's Friday the 13th. Wow. If you're superstitious, do not come out on. Even working in the Netherlands. Oh, well done, Fem. That's good. So, folks, look. Anyway, so if someone wants to come and grab me on that, then that's great. You have to paste it in, not clickable. That's because I don't know how to make it clickable. Sorry. Cut and paste it in. You've got to do a little bit of work. What's the matter with you? I've done all the talking for an hour. What do I think? Well, overall, it was pretty uneventful, I think. Okay. Yes, the national insurance stuff, minimum wage, as I say, it's gonna affect some businesses, and maybe you're in a business that's been affected. If you do, I feel for you. But now's the time to do something about it and get into a business that makes you six-figure sums for working 1 day a week. Seriously, why not do something different? So that could affect you as developers in terms of those contractors and consultants costs. So look out for that, because a lot of them are the lower end of the market. I think the capital gains tax, it's not really a biggie. The second homes for development, it's not really affecting us. The SDLT definitely affects the buy-to-let fraternity, but of course, it doesn't affect us because we're buying it commercially. As I said, we're paying commercial SDLT rates, no surcharge, and we can still turn them into residential and hold them. So why not be a developer? Forget being a landlord, be a developer, build your portfolio that way. You don't run out of money either. You build it a lot faster. I always say, build your portfolio and keep some cash and keep some properties. Business assets, business, I hate this. Entrepreneurs relief. You know what I'm talking about. That asset disposal relief, business asset disposal relief. There's too many S's all getting close to each other. It's difficult for me to say. That will, so keep an eye out for this. I think this could be an interesting opportunity. Cozy up, as I said, to a few agents. You might start seeing some owners disposing of buildings as they sell their businesses. Certainly, probably, I reckon more next year than, between now and April 26th rather than next year, because they won't necessarily be in a position. A sell and purchase agreement document takes 3 or 4 months to put together. Pensions, as I say, well, look, your pension pots might be hit, so work out a bigger pension. Absolutely. The first time buyers, they never really said anything. Housing, though, the whole theme was we need to deliver housing, although they didn't really say much. They haven't supported first time buyers, but the whole theme is let's support housing. I think the bottom line, really, it comes back to that rule of 375. Everything I talk about comes back to that. Is I have no, and I don't mean this, I'm not bigging myself up, but I have no stress over the budget. I have, we have a business, a property CEO, but, we do all right. And it doesn't really affect us. A little bit of extra money for the staff, or not the staff, but the cost of the national insurance, that's not really a biggie. And the way I've always looked at it is I can't control governments. I can't influence governments. I don't really have an appetite to get myself a placard and march on Downing Street. I really don't have the appetite for that. I got more important things to do. Put an obstacle in my way, put some taxation in my way, put legislation in my way. I'm a businessman. I'm just going to find ways to make more money. And if I can make more money, maybe you're going to get me for more tax, but so be it. But actually, I can still make more money, so it doesn't influence me or impact me. And I guess that's the theme. It's the theme where I started. And it's the theme where I want to finish with you, is just think about this, okay? If you're an existing student of mine, you're on the right path. Let's keep supporting you, guiding you, pushing you, giving you a little kick when you need it to get you there where you want to be. A lot of your fellow students are doing it. So if you're not quite there yet, we're going to get you there. If you're not, and you want to start this journey, and you can get the link to work. By the way, if you can't get that link to work, just email in support@propertyceo.co.uk, support@propertyceo.co.uk. Say Ritchie said I can have a cheap ticket to Fast Track. They do their nut because they didn't know I put that link in there. And so just say that if you really want to come with us. If you want to come, I can help and support and guide you. And we can then go and do some development. We're not together. You're going to do it. I'm going to guide and support you to do your own development. You can start making some 6-figure sums. And ultimately, some of this stuff is not massively important. Lasting comment, all of you, and I often say this to people, have you got a Post-it note? I don't have one around on my desk here. If you've got a Post-it note, one of those little square ones, right, rule of 375. Rule of 375. Write your number. So if it was 10,000 a month, 3.6 million. And write today's date, spooky, 31st of the 10th, 24. Okay. Rule of 375, write your number if it's 3.6 million or whatever it is. 31st of the 10th, 24, stick it on the fridge. Stick it on your notice board in your office. Make tonight worthwhile, that it's making you think what you should do to perhaps earn some bigger lumps to get to that pension, to not worry about the budget. Was that helpful? If that was useful, please let me know in the chat box. Give me some comments of what you thought of tonight's open door show. A bit of a one-off special. Most of these are recorded, but this one was live, of course, unless you are listening to recorded. But let me know what you think. Let's have a look. And do not be rude. Let's have a look. Let's have some answers. Got to love the Clapson. Got to love the Clapson. Ah, wonderful. Great. Smiley face with some love hearts. That's nice. Maybe. See you next week, Richie. No problems at all, Roman. Look forward to it. Thank you, Ritchie. See you at Manchester North Pin next week. Yes, I definitely will be there, Dawn. I'm going to be there. Love it. Loved it. Thank you. Good session. You always inspire. I try and do my best. Very helpful. Thank you. As always, Ritchie delivers. We're working with Paul Stewart on the back of one of your podcasts, Ritchie. Oh, excellent. Well done, Philip. Not sure what that's all about. Thank you. I did, so these comments are coming in thick of it. I did the fast track. I got Clapsoned. You definitely did, Craig, didn't you? Inspiring, Ritchie. Very valuable information. Thank you. Amazing as always, Ritchie. Look, you guys are amazing. Thanks for coming on board. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks now. Good night.